When Twilight Masquerade comes to Pokemon TCG Live on Wednesday, May 22nd, yes, they changed it to Wednesday instead of Thursday, there will be several new cards you want to craft to improve your decks. In this video, I'll give you a rundown of what they are, how much they cost to craft, and which cards you get for free in the Battle Pass decks. There's a lot to get to, so let's begin with the A-Specs. The best A-Spec in Twilight Masquerade is Unfair Stamp, and you immediately want to craft one for 600 credits. It's an insane card that puts your opponent down to just 2 cards, assuming one of your Pokemon was just knocked out. Not only that, you get 5 cards, and you can still play your supporter for turn. Legacy Energy is awesome with Lugia V-Star, providing a Rainbow Energy while also denying a prize card. That prize card denial is only a once per game effect, so don't be surprised if it's glitched in live, but the power is undeniable. That being said, you don't actually want to craft it. Instead, level up the Battle Pass and unlock it naturally. We don't yet know which level of the Battle Pass you'll get Legacy Energy at, but if it's anything like Prime Catcher on the Temporal Forces Battle Pass, it'll be at level 6. The next tier down for A-Specs, we have a reprint of Scoop Up Cyclone and the new Secret Box. Like Legacy Energy, these are more deck-specific than easily includable in nearly every deck. Scoop Up Cyclone is great for things like Dragapult EX and Charizard EX for either removing a damaged high HP Stage 2 or getting a Rotom V off the field. Then there's Secret Box. For decks like Roaring Moon, Ancient Box, and even Miraidon EX, it's great at just getting you off to a fast start. By discarding 3 cards from your hand, you go and get an item, tool, supporter, and stadium. Basically, you discard 3 cards to get the best version of each trainer card in your deck, all on an item. Then there's the less playable A-Specs. Hyper Aroma can be useful in something like Golden Go EX, as it's Arven and Irida searchable, and it essentially gives you the ability to draw 4 cards after getting 3 Golden Go, assuming you have 3 Gimme Duel in play. But if you're playing Hyper Aroma, you're not running Prime Catcher or Unfair Stamp. It's the same story with Survival Brace, the worst A-Spec in the set. The effect is nuts, allowing any full HP Pokemon to survive a one-shot, but with Dragapult spreading damage counters, Jamming Tower shutting off tools, and Lost Vacuum existing, Survival Brace is just far too risky. Switching to the supporters, it's slim pickings. Carmine and Kieran are the 2 best in the set, and 1 copy of Carmine is included at Tier 0 of the basic Battle Pass. Lugia has the best use for Carmine, but being able to have a turn 1 supporter at your disposal in any deck should never be overlooked. And 1 copy of Kieran can help a bunch of decks hit better numbers. For cards like Dragapult and Charizard, it makes their attacks that much more lethal, boosting the damage they deal to V and EX Pokemon by 30 while also offering up a switch card in a pinch. After that, it's a lot of supporters in the meh, why not, they're only 100 credits pile. Lana's Aid is the best of the rest, giving single prize decks a super rod that puts the cards back into your hand instead of your deck. Thwackey Dipplin definitely wants at least 1 copy. Then there's Hassel. If one of your Pokemon was just knocked out, you can look at the top 8 cards of your deck and pick 3. Arguably, this is a better Colress, or it's just bad. Either way, get a copy and experiment. Finally, there's Lucian and Raifort. Lucian is effectively a reprint of Ilima, which never really saw play. But when the coin flips go right, it's fun. Each player shuffles their hand onto the bottom of their deck, then flips a coin. If it's heads, you draw 6 cards. If it's tails, you draw 3 cards. Iono, Roxanne, and Judge are all seemingly better, but if you haven't whacked off in a while, Lucian will offer you a hand. And then there's Raifort. Arguably a worse Explorer's Guidance, it lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and discard any number of them while putting the rest back in any order. Just get 1 to see if it's good. The items are just as disappointing. In a world without Snorlax Stall or Pidgeot Control, the Flute is a great card for spread decks able to fill up their bench with easy targets. But the world we live in isn't fair. If you're a filthy stall player, get 4, grab a Pokemon or 2 from their deck, and win the game. In happier news, Bug Catching Set makes grass decks better. 2 are free on the Battle Pass, so you only need to craft 2. Bug Catching Set lets you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, then put 2 in any combination of Grass Pokemon and Grass Energy directly into your hand. No, this doesn't mean I'm going to play Torterra EX now. It's still trash, though not as garbage as Love Ball. It's literally unplayable and one of the worst trainer cards ever printed. Ogre's Mask is slightly more playable, except it's free on the Battle Pass and an Ogerpon Toolbox deck isn't very good either. After that, Enhanced Hammer is another reprint, so get 1 if you don't already have a copy from Guardians Rising. It's just an easy way to bump a special energy like Legacy Energy or Neo Upper. Because stall and control decks need more helpful tools, craft 2 Handheld Fan. If the Pokemon it's attached to gets hit, you send an energy from the attacking Pokemon to a bench Pokemon. So you can take an energy from Charizard EX and give it to someone useless like Bibarel. The other tool is Lucky Helmet, yet another reprint. Helmet cards rarely see play, and this is no exception. The two best stadiums are Jamming Tower and Festival Grounds. Unless you're building a deck solely focused on shutting off tools, you really only need 2 copies of Jamming Tower maximum. It's just great at turning off HP boosting tools like Bravery Charm and Ancient Booster, while also stopping future decks from having free retreat. And then there's Festival Grounds. If you're building the Thwackey Dipplin deck, you'll need 4. Otherwise, it's kinda useless. Yeah, it could be slightly annoying if Cloth was still a thing, but realistically, Festival Grounds' only purpose is to allow Dipplin to attack twice per turn, and even then it's bordering on a rogue deck. Unlike a community center in our world, where there's a bunch of old men walking around the locker room without towels so you can see their heavy balls, this community center heals 10 damage from each of your Pokemon, provided you just played a supporter. If it wasn't for Munkidori, Gardevoir would have used this as a cheaper Champions Festival to deal 330 damage with Drifloon. But the monkey kind of makes it unnecessary, though it's at least worth testing in Gardevoir to see its effectiveness. As a reminder, A-Specs cost 600 credits each, while every other trainer should cost 100 credits since they're uncommons. There is the odd time when a trainer is hollow only, which bumps it to 400 credits, but it's rare. Get it? Because it'd be in the rare slot? Never mind. In total, you'll want to set aside 4,100 credits for all the best trainer cards in Twilight Masquerade, and you can get it down to 3,700 by skipping Hassel, Lucian, and Raifort. The free Legacy Energy, 1 Carmine, and 2 Bug Catching Set on the Battle Pass do help a little. Just remember that Legacy Energy won't be unlocked until Tier 6 or so. As for trainers to skip, there's a lot. At least for now, Hyper Aroma and Survival Brace don't need to be crafted. Definitely think about Hyper Aroma if you're a Golden Go player, but it's not a day 1 must craft, especially at 600 credits. Boomerang Energy doesn't have a good Pokemon to pair with unless you find some Archeop shenanigans, while Perrin is a supporter-based Pokemon communication that makes me wonder why they didn't just reprint Pokemon communication. Switching over to the support Pokemon, get a copy of Tatsugiri. That's the easiest first craft in this category. It's just Mew from Celebrations, except it searches for a supporter instead of an item. You only need 1, and it can be splashed into many different decks to help you at any point during the game. And on turn 1, it can be used as your TM Evolutioner, or you can slap a rescue board on it and retreat. Another useful Pokemon you want 1 copy of is Morpeko. While not nearly as helpful as Tatsugiri, the Morpeko lets you look at the top card of your deck, which you can choose to discard. This can improve your chances of hitting Electric Generator energies with Miraidon EX, and that's about it. I wouldn't recommend it in Lugia V-Star because it takes up a bench spot, and the attack isn't terrible, able to accelerate 2 energy from your discard pile. If you want to build the Thwackey Dipplin deck, you'll need 4 Grookey and 4 Thwackey to thwack off as hard as possible. Thwackey is the backbone of the deck, able to search for any card so long as your active has the Festival Lead ability. Speaking of which, also grab a copy of Goldeen. This way you can put the Thwackey engine into every deck, though Dragapult will make you regret it almost immediately. Munkidori has so much use, it's kinda crazy. Gardevoir and Blissey are the best pairings for the monkey though, as it allows you to take 3 damage counters from one of your own Pokemon and put them on one of your opponent's Pokemon. You just have to be able to put a Darkness energy on it. How many you want depends on which decks you plan on building. Gardevoir only needs 1, while Blissey wants 3. Speaking of damage counters, get 4 Froslass. It does suck against Dragapult, offering up easily pingable Pokemon on the bench, but against any decks running abilities, it can be insane. Between turns, Froslass puts 1 damage counter on every Pokemon with an ability except any Froslass. And since Snorunt can also evolve into it, get a copy of Glalie, which slots perfectly into a Greninja EX deck, offering up a potential big attacker for 1 energy. And finally, craft 1 each of Milotic and Abra. Not game busters in any way, Milotic simply prevents your opponent from using Penny, Charon's Care, or Scoop Up Cyclone. And Abra is pretty much just for Palafin EX. And damn it, we're gonna make the Dolphin work. It's a very short list for the best support Pokemon in Twilight Masquerade, and none of them are that expensive. 3,500 credits is all you need, with 2,800 of that taken up by Froslass and Munkidori since they're rares. And now the best part of the video, the attacking Pokemon. The first thing you want to do is craft a single copy of Blood Moon Ursaluna EX for 600 credits. It's the best all-around Pokemon in the set, boasting 260 hit points and dealing 240 damage for as little as 0 energy. Lugia loves it, so does every Lost Zone deck. Then we come to Dragapult EX. Things are a little different here. Yes, Dragapult's amazing, but thanks to the Battle Pass, 4 Dreepy, 3 Dracloak, and 2 Dragapult EX are free at Tier 0. You will have to spend 600 crystals to get the Premium Battle Pass, but if you're not saving your crystals for every Premium Pass, then you clearly haven't been watching my videos and you should feel ashamed of yourself, but I'll forgive you if you subscribe right now and post an apology feat pic in the Discord. You also get a 3rd Dragapult by Tier 14 of the Premium Pass, but it's a different art. So I'll say that you need to craft 1 Dracloak and 1 Dragapult, and now you're pretty much set for the best new deck in Twilight Masquerade. Another great new attacking Pokemon is Blissey EX. Featuring one of the best matchups against Dragapult EX, Blissey has 300 hit points, deals 180 damage while drawing you up to 6 cards in hand, and has an ability that lets you move energy around for fun Munkidori and Charon's Care plays. You'll want to go for the full 4 Blissey to build the deck. Meanwhile, you can skip the Chansey, as the 2 current ones are better in every way. And I mean, come on, the 151 one can get you a free prize card once every 100 battles. It's clearly superior. Looking at the Ogerpon EX, you don't need to craft any of them. At Tier 0 of the basic Battle Pass, you receive 2 Grass Ogerpon, 1 Fire, 1 Water, and 1 Fighting for free. Then by Tier 16, you receive 2 more of the Grass Ogerpon as well as another one of the rest. Yeah, those extra copies are alt arts, but they're free. So yes, most of these cards are good, you just don't need to spend any credits on them. Speaking of the Battle Pass, you also receive 4 of the Optimal Poltergeist and 3 Sinistcha for free. So if you want to make the Ogerpon Sinistcha deck, the only card you have to spend credits on is 1 copy of Sinistcha EX, which is 600 credits. Continuing with cards that make up playable new decks, there's Greninja EX. You'll want 3, allowing you to Shinobi Blade and Mirage Barrage as much as possible. The new Frogadier is best, so get 1. And because the new Froakie only has 60 hit points, just get 1 of that and play 3 copies of the old Froakie from Obsidian Flames, as it has 70 hit points. To complete your Thwackey Dipplin deck, you actually need the Dipplin. Craft 4, now you can build a single prize deck that attacks twice per turn and absolutely destroys Charizard EX in a meta where Charizard EX isn't as good anymore. You also want 4 of the Grass Applin, as the deck runs Bug Catching Set. As we transition to the less necessary attacking Pokemon section, let's look at Palafin EX. I'm going to say something controversial. Do not, under any circumstances, craft these cards. It's not because Palafin's bad, I mean it's not great, but a Palafin EX deck will be free in the first week of June on PTCGL, so just hold off until then and get the cards for free. We don't know the specifics of the deck yet, so follow me on Twitter for more news when it's available. I could honestly end the video here, but there are some attacking Pokemon you want to be on the lookout for, though they definitely aren't worth crafting right away. Iron Thorns EX can be a fun way to troll decks like Lugia, Gardevoir, and Charizard, but it has a rough time against Dragapult, so I can't recommend it. If you do want to build it though, you will need to craft 4 copies for 2400 credits. Magcargo EX has some potential, able to deal up to 420 damage for 3 energy, but it requires energy to be on the top of both decks. The obvious partner is Team Stargrunt, but it's your supporter for turn. And you could use Cypher Maniac or Silene or Morpeko for your own deck, it just seems like a lot, especially when you need to get 3 energy on Magcargo in the first place. Aggron is looking like a single prize Zoroark V-Star, able to deal up to 300 damage for a single energy. You will need to run cards like Gapejaw Bogden Gengar or Dodrio, which makes life so much easier on Dragapult EX players. Still, Aggron's a beefy boy and can definitely get some wins against decks not named Dragapult, provided you run Kieran or Maximum Belt or Defiance Band. Then we have Heatran. I don't mind chucking a copy into Dialga-Matang and seeing what it can do. Yeah, it's an energy sink, doing 50 damage for each energy you discard from it. You'll need 7 to one-shot a Dragapult or Charizard, but if you manage your energy properly, it could win you games where Dialga V-Star would otherwise be a liability. Sticking with off-meta Stage 2 decks, we have Conkeldurr. I put it in my Road Decks video because, just like Aggron, this thing can one-shot the best Stage 2 Pokemon out there. The advantage Conkeldurr has is that it can do it for free. Poison it with Brute Bonnet, boost the poison damage with Sneasler, play Kieran or Grant and attach a belt or band, now you're making life difficult for Dragapult and Zard. Just try to overlook the fact that it will be one of the slowest decks you've ever played. Because of how the ability works, you can attach a basic fighting energy and either Luminous Energy or Legacy Energy to Okidogi, then have a 230 hit point basic single prizer that deals 170 damage. Put a Bravery Charm on it, now it has 280 hit points. It's definitely a Fringe card, but I thought Fringe was a good show, so why not try it out? And finally, Luxray EX and Clefable. Luxray EX won a single tournament in Japan and hasn't done anything at any other point. But pair it with Unfair Stamp and you can be dealing 100 damage with a double turbo attached while also removing any card you want from your opponent's hand. And if you go the Electric Generator route, you have a 250 damage attack right after, though you do have to discard all the energy. Then there's Clefable. Attach 2 energy, now you have a single prize Mew EX. Clefable can copy any attack on your opponent's active Pokemon, including Radiant Greninja's Moonlight Shuriken and Dragapult EX's Phantom Dive. It's definitely a meme tier card, but don't forget that we still have the Energy Accelerator Clefairy standard, so it's a good meme. Like Distracted Boyfriend or Twilight Masquerade is a mid-set, change my mind. I went into this video underwhelmed by Twilight Masquerade. Covering every playable card did not change that feeling. However, the good news about a set with 80 to 90% filler cards is that your credits are mostly going to be safe. In total, you'll want to have 14,000 credits to craft all of the best cards coming to Twilight Masquerade on Wednesday. I'll put a list in the description that you can easily copy and paste into live, making the crafting process smoother than my feet after swimming in my lotion pool. As a reminder, or whatever the opposite of a reminder is to people who skip to the end, a good amount of cards are being given away for free on the Battle Pass, which is partially why the list of craftables is so low. So make sure you claim the free decks before crafting any cards, spending 600 crystals on the Premium Pass right away, and never ever under any circumstances spending 1800 crystals on the Premium Pass Plus. It is the biggest waste of money on PTCGL. Well, second biggest. I mean, can you imagine spending crystals to get coins? Who would be dumb enough to do that?